What is up, everybody? Matt Modai here to give you some WNBA bangers for tomorrow's WNBA betting slate. So we are talking tomorrow, Tuesday, July 9th. There's only one game on the schedule for tomorrow, so what I'm going to be doing is just giving you a deep dive into that game, giving you the lay of the land between these two teams, the Lynx and the Sparks. Then I'm going to give out my one official bet of the day that I bet myself, that I'm tracking, going a part of my record and all that stuff. And then I'm also going to give out a lean as well. A lean is going to be a player prop that I do like. I didn't like it enough to make it an official play, so people wanted to tail that they can, but win, loss, it's not going to be a part of my record or anything like that. Speaking of my record, the WNBA season has been very hit or miss so far. Whenever it seems like we're going on a run, the opposite happens and we're unable to sustain that run. So on the entire season, we're down a little bit less than 1 unit, which in the grand scheme of things, that's not terrible. It's just been really frustrating up and down nature. You know, last week I did 2 WNBA videos. One of those videos, we went 3-0, was amazing. The next video, I went 1-2. Not really, but some of the losses or the wins that I had, about half of that was taken away with the next video. And that's really just a microcosm of how the season has gone. You know, there was a stretch where I won 5 straight WNBA bets, up 5 units. And then after that, we had a stretch where we were down basically the next week. All that losses, or all of those wins turned into losses, being down 5 units over the next week. So hopefully we're able to start going on a run. Hopefully that starts with this video. I would appreciate it if you are not already, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. I come out with WNBA videos, not every single day of the week when there's games or anything like that, as often as I can. But I do have daily MLB videos and all that stuff, so hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And then I also do have a Dub Club where I send all my plays out for $5 a month. So if you're interested in that, just check out the link in the description of the video. It's everywhere. Check that out if you're interested. But let's get into this game. So as I mentioned, we got one game on tap. We have the Lynx heading to LA and playing the Sparks in this one. Sparks hosting this game. And I'm going to do a deep dive on, you can see all the stats on the screen here, but one thing I really just want to kind of highlight is the Sparks for a little bit, because you really got to feel for them. They were already planning to have a rough season. They just didn't have a ton of talent, and they had the 3rd pick in the WNBA draft. So they're not a team that was good last year, then weren't expected to be good this year, but they did have a nice, young, bright talent in Cameron Brink. She was drafted, I think, 3rd overall. Really, really storied college career. Not quite as popular as Caitlin Clark, but people did know Cameron Brink from her college days. She was having a pretty good rookie year, but she tore her ACL a couple weeks ago, which is kind of a bummer. Obviously, it's never fun to go through an injury like that, especially happening in your rookie year is really a bummer. And since she got injured, the Sparks have really struggled. So the numbers you see on the screen here are for the Sparks since she went down, and then I'm comparing that to the full season of the Lynx. The Lynx have kind of had an up and down season. They were really, really good for a stretch. They've been pretty down recently, so I'm just looking at their entire season. While for the Sparks, again, I'm looking at it since she got hurt, because, that is a pretty important line in the sand to draw. So, since she got hurt, which was, again, she got hurt on June 18th, so the stats I'm looking at are from June 19th and on. The Sparks have really struggled. They're 1-5 overall with their record, so they're 1 win and 5 losses. And look at their stats across the board. Is nothing really that impressive. Now, their offensive net rating, being ranked 5th, that is admittedly better than I would have thought. I did not think that they would have an offensive net rating that high. Now, there's 12 teams, so 5th is more in the middle of the pack than it is anything like top 5 in the NBA is a lot different than top 5 in the WNBA. But 5th is better than I would have thought. Really, the issues that the Sparks are having are on the defensive side of the ball. As you can see, they have the 2nd worst defensive net rating in the WNBA over that stretch. And due to that terrible defense, mostly, they have the 3rd worst overall net rating. So they're 5th on offense, 2nd to last on defense, and then 3rd overall. But even if you look at that 5th ranked offensive net rating, you can kind of even draw some holes in that. They have the 8th worst effective field goal, the 8th ranked, 8th worst, it is the same thing, effective field goal percentage in the WNBA. So it's not like their offense, it's not even as good as the 5th ranked offense looks. And then on the other side of the ball, they have literally allowing the worst opponent effective field goal percentage in the WNBA. Now the Lynx, they don't have the best offense in the world, as you can see, 5th in terms of net rating on the season, but I do think that they should be able to put up points against the Sparks defense when you consider how bad the Sparks defense has been. As you can see, again, literally the worst effective opponent effective field goal percentage in the entire WNBA. And one specific advantage that I did want to highlight on the screen here and just kind of talk through that is the advantage for the Lynx in terms of turnovers. The Sparks, since Cameron Brink got hurt, again, since June 19th, have the third worst turnover rate in the WNBA. You look at the entire season, the Lynx have literally scored the most points in the WNBA off of turnovers, literally the most. And one area the Sparks have been pretty good on offense, which is keeping them afloat, is they're shooting the ball really well. And they're shooting the ball really well from above the break. They have the third most above the break three-pointers in the WNBA since Brink went down, so they have been shooting well. Unfortunately, you look at the Minnesota Lynx, they have literally the best above the break defense in the entire WNBA. They have allowed the fewest points per game from above the break three-pointers. So yeah, again, the Lynx don't have the best offense in the world, but I do think that they should be able to put up points against the Sparks defense. And then on the other side of the ball, I just have a really tough time seeing the Sparks scoring enough, which leads me to my official pick, which I'm sure nobody is surprised to see, but I am riding with the Lynx to cover the spread. -114 odds at FanDuel is what I was able to get this play at. I am putting a full unit on this play as well. And the biggest reason why, if the Lynx end up not covering, my assumption would be because their offense wasn't able to score enough against this horrible Sparks defense. But again, there are reasons to believe that the Lynx should be able to score. And it's not as though the Lynx offense, it's not like they're terrible. You know, they're not the Dream or the Wings or anything like that. If you look at the entire season, they have the third best effective field goal percentage in the WNBA, the third best true shooting percentage in the WNBA as well. So there are signs to show that their offense is a little bit better than their net rating. And there are some matchup advantages in favor of the Lynx as well, the most notably being in the mid-range. The Sparks have allowed the second most points per game via mid-range jumpers in the NBA. And if you look at the entire season, the Lynx have made the second most mid-range shots. So the Sparks are one of those defenses that, I mean, there really isn't an area in which they're good at, but what they try to do is funnel teams to the mid-range. They don't give up. I mean, if you look at where they struggle, they're not good at the rim, and they're also not good above the break, but they're the worst in the mid-range. That's kind of where they try to funnel shots. And the Lynx, they don't go to the rim a ton. They shoot a lot in the mid-range. Players, women, like Courtney Williams, one of the best mid-range shooters in the WNBA. So that's on offense. I do think the Lynx are going to be able to put up points. And the other side of the ball, I mean, it's just really hard being the Sparks, being able to score enough to keep this game somewhat close. So if you wanted to just take the Sparks team total under and not worry about the Lynx offense, you could do that. I think that the spread is the better play. Obviously, that's why I'm giving it out. I wouldn't blame people if they're just like, you know what, I just want to isolate the Sparks offense and fade that. That's fine. But as you can see, and as I've mentioned, the Lynx have pretty much the best defense across the board in most categories that you can look at, and specifically do a good job at stopping what the Sparks like to do on offense as well, which is shoot. And then I also think that points off of turnovers is going to be a big factor in favor of the Lynx. So for all those reasons, I'm taking the Lynx to cover the spread. Again, -7, -114 odds at FanDuel. In terms of the player prop lean, again, I'm not betting this myself. It's not going to be tracked officially whether it wins or whether it loses. But I do like taking Dearica Hamby to go under 18.5 points, which is at -122 odds at FanDuel. Now, the reason why this is a lean and not an official play is because Hamby has done really well since Brink got injured. And that is, again, that's something that you can kind of look at as a line of demarcation and say, okay, before and after. After Brink got hurt, she's been really good. So we don't know, is that happenstance? Is that just because she happened to play well since that happened? Is that correlation or is it causation? You know what I mean? So if you just look at the matchup itself, it's a really good matchup to fade Dearica Hamby. But we don't know what her usage rate looks like since Brink got hurt, and if that's something that's going to carry out the entire season, because we unfortunately just don't have that data for the WNBA. Hopefully we get it soon. It's just not available to us. But if you just want to highlight the matchup, as I mentioned, it is an opportunity to fade Hamby. She scores the majority of her points as the roller on the pick and roll, so she's not the ball handler, she's the roll man, roll woman. The Lynx literally allow the fewest points per game to rollers in the entire WNBA, literally the fewest. And then Hamby, she likes to get fouled. She scores the second majority of her points at the line. The Lynx have allow the second fewest points per game at the line. They don't foul very frequently. Hamby also does like to score in transition. The third most of her points come from transition. Lynx don't give up anything in transition. Also the second best defense in the WNBA when it comes to guarding transition. And that's 15% of Hamby's points. So the top 3 areas of the floor in which Hamby scores, the Lynx are either the best or the second best defense at guarding. So it really, really is a tough matchup. But if she shoots a lot more with Brink out of the lineup, it's been a couple games, like I said, 6 games, so it is a decent sample size to suggest that might be the case. Six games, is that enough to make a sweeping judgment off of or not? I don't know. That's why I'm leaving this as a lean as opposed to an official play. If we didn't have that that type of thing, outlier, something messing with the data, then I probably would make it an official play. But if she just doesn't efficiency, but if she just volumes herself to going over 18.5 points, I would be frustrated. So that's why I'm leaving it as a lean. I do really like the play from a matchup perspective. And I also really, really like the Lynx to cover the spread as our official play. And that is all we got. So 1 official bet, 1 lean for you guys for the game tomorrow, the Lynx versus the Sparks. I feel like the Liberty and Lynx have played each other a million times recently, which is why I said that. But the Lynx versus the Sparks. If you are not already, again, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Would appreciate it if you could like and comment on this specific video. Check out the Dub Club if you're interested in that. I appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.